Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back. I am super pumped to have Ted with us this week. I've been looking forward to getting him on here, and I apologize if my video, for those of you listening, you can hear me loud and clear. You could hear Ted. You'll hear him in a second, but he has his video on. So if you're watching on YouTube, I'm not on. But anyways, enough about that. Ted, I just wanted to personally give you a warm welcome to the Tony Shap Show and take a second to say hello to the audience.
Hi, Tony. Well, first, Happy New Year. Probably first one of the year, and it's great to be in 2021. So I'm very excited about meeting your audience and having an interesting conversation here today.
Excellent. We're super excited to have you. So let's start with a one-word open. If you could share with us, what is that one word that you could describe how you are feeling exactly in this moment? Please share that with us, Ted.
Optimistic. I think right now, we've gone through some very challenging times. A lot of turmoil in 2020, and I think that 2021 there's just optimism is out there, and I'm feeling very positive. I don't think things are going to change immediately, and so patience might be another word to throw in there. But ultimately, I feel pretty good about what's going on right now. I think that the road to recovery will be it'll happen quickly. Not overnight, but if we put our heads down, we're gonna get to a better place in 2021. So.
Excellent, thank you. Now tell our audience about your business, where how you got started, where you are today, and where you are going. I know it's a big question I'm asking in 3 stages, but if you could share with us so we could be on the same page of what you're all about, how you got started, where you are, where you're going, and all that good stuff.
Excellent. Yeah, well, in order to really tell the story of Cylynt, which is the company I co-founded with Chris Sloughton in 2014, you really have to go back to my previous company, which was a company called AWR. And AWR is a company that developed computer-aided design technology that was used for designing semiconductors. So we were very much, a company still exists today. It's part of Cadence Design Systems. While I was there in 2011, we ended up selling it to National Instruments. But the reason I bring it up is that we were really hard-working engineers developing very complicated software that was used for designing these chips to go into cell phones, and we faced a lot of challenges in selling this product because it is complicated software and it's expensive, and we were having a lot of success with it in most parts of the world, but we were particularly struggling in the Asia Pacific region. And we really looked into it and tried to discover what the problems were. And the problem wasn't that people didn't want to use our software in the Asia Pacific region, but they were using illegal copies of it. So piracy, you hear a lot about software piracy and copyright infringement, and it is a really big problem that we faced. And we looked to solutions, and there really was nothing out there that could protect our IP from key generators and crack licenses and binary tampering and all of these cyber threats that were really undermining our business. And what we ended up doing is developing technology in-house. We developed a process and we developed technology, and we were able to, over the course of many years, we were able to really come up with a very effective anti-piracy program that ultimately generated about 10% of the annual revenue for the company. And it helped us actually keep the company going and led to a very nice acquisition with National Instruments, and Austin, Texas-based technology company. So the story ended very nicely. And once we had sold the company, I was, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I had gotten very excited about this anti-piracy business, and I thought we had learned a lot, and we had a lot of value that we could add to other software companies. So that was the seed that got planted between Chris and myself, who the 2 co-founders of what was then we founded a company called SmartFlow, and we've just rebranded in 2020 to Cylynt as the company has expanded. So what we started out doing was developing an anti-piracy solution that has been adopted by many of the leading companies in the computer-aided design, computer-aided manufacturing, electronic design automation industries, and other industries as well. The company really took off. So we're very successful, and now we're looking at expanding that vision into another area, a tangential market that's complementary, called usage analytics. So right place at the right time with the COVID pandemic. One of the big challenges that a lot of software companies face today is they have application engineers and salespeople that are doing like you and I, we're doing Zoom calls, but they can't go out there and visit the customer. They can't check in. They can't see how the users are using the software. They can't meet with the executive team and really develop the accounts the way that they ordinarily would in ordinary times. So what Cylynt does is, in addition to protecting the IP, we also provide a window into the world of the users, where you can look at what features are being used, how often is the software being logged into, how many users are active, and are they using the advanced features. And this usage analytics is part of the expanded vision of where we're going. It's part of the thought process that we put into the rebranding from SmartFlow Compliance Solutions to Cylynt, is that we wanted to basically put forth this message that we're not just for doing license compliance. We do a great job with anti-piracy and license compliance, but we also can help legitimate customers get more value from their platform. So we've built this portal. We've built a very powerful anti-piracy and telemetry tracking capability, and all of the data goes to the cloud, and then our clients can log into it and get a window into how people are using the software that they've developed. So probably a longer answer than you may have wanted, Tony, but hopefully it tells you a little bit more about kind of where we're at and where we're going.
That was excellent. I appreciate it very much. So that's perfect. So let's talk about recent wins. If you could share with the audience, what's a recent win that you were able to put on the board, so to speak, and that's dear to your heart in business context, and what you learned from it, Ted.
Excellent. Yeah. So we've been working with a number of clients in 2020 in a very challenging kind of environment. And unfortunately, I cannot disclose the name of the client, but I can tell you about their business. This was a client that was had an industry standard tool, very, very popular, used in a worldwide marketplace. But they were really struggling with trying to understand their user community. So they sold partially through a direct organization, but partially through reseller organizations, a whole bunch of resellers in different areas. And they had different groups in the sales team. Some of them would handle enterprise accounts, and some of them would handle university licenses, and some of them would handle kind of direct to consumer. And all of these licenses were going out through all of these channels, direct and indirect, to the point where they didn't have a very firm grasp of what their user community was doing. On top of that, they had a huge piracy problem. And then they also had a problem with the license manager and with over deployments. So you have this whole mix of different users, different licenses, different products, number of acquisitions, and they were collecting a lot of data, but they really couldn't make sense of the data because it's not an easy problem. But it happens to be a problem that Cylynt is really good at solving. We are, you hear it a lot from companies that they eat bad data for breakfast. And in our case, it's actually true. We can take a lot of not necessarily bad data, but confusing data, and we can digest a lot of that customer data, and then we can look at it from a fresh perspective, and then enrich it and aggregate it and bring a set of dashboards to life that shows exactly what's going on. So this customer was really mesmerized by what we could tell them about their company. And these were things that they knew intrinsically, but they couldn't justify it. They couldn't back it up. There were arguments within their own organization as to what was going on and what they needed to do to grow sales. So it was an expensive project for us. It took probably 4 or 5 man months. We put our engineers onto it. We invested the time and the effort into consuming all of this data, and then we were able to just show them, okay, so here's what we see. You're giving out all of these evaluation licenses, and your organization in Scandinavia is doing a fantastic job, and they're converting X% of these evaluations into licensed customers. And they were like, how do you know that? And it's like, well, that's our secret sauce. We're able to take different pieces of data, and we're able to track, based on machines or IP addresses or other things, we're able to connect this evaluation license that might have been done in March with this purchase order that came in September, when they couldn't do that themselves. They didn't have that kind of traceability, because maybe somebody would evaluate with one channel and then buy through an online channel, and the dots never got connected. So we put together, stories, and we aggregated all of this data, and we were able to show them that, here's 10 accounts that have bought a lot of licenses that aren't using them. So this is a churn, there's churn potential, that these guys might not renew maintenance, or they might not renew their subscriptions for these licenses. Here's another set of 10 companies that are consuming, 90% of their licenses on a daily basis. And if I were you, I would send some emails or get a sales rep engaged, because these guys need more licenses. Right. And then right. From a sales management perspective, if you're the VP of sales for this company, you could look at your sales organization and say, this team is doing a great job in this region, and this team in this region, they're giving out 10 times as many evaluation licenses, and they're getting 1/3 of the purchase orders. So what's different? Why are these guys getting a higher conversion ratio of their evaluations to purchases than these guys? What are they doing to support the users? What are they doing to qualify those evaluations to drive revenue? So we were able to show a tremendous amount of value to the customer in terms of just lighting up for them what their own data that was sitting in all of these different silos with different groups. We were able to bring that data to life and show them a vision with fresh eyes of what was going on. And that was very rewarding to us, because we were focused like a laser on just anti-piracy and license compliance for the first 5 or 6 years, I guess, of our existence. And it was customers that actually helped show us that we were bringing more value than just that we could show commercial, we could show evals, we could even show educational and misuse of educational licenses, where people were buying student editions and then using them commercially. And again, that's an opportunity to true up these licenses. So
that's really interesting, and thanks for sharing that, because right now it's 2021, but this could be 10 years from now, or 15 years from now, or even next month, and a CEO is listening to this and they're like, oh my gosh, I need to talk to Ted, right? So yeah, that's really cool that you share that experience, because I didn't know a service like yours existed. So thanks for giving us the whole high level and deep overview of what you guys do, and specific examples, which is, I'm grateful for that.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to share it. And you're absolutely right. People don't know what they don't know, and we're not in a well-defined niche market where, like an Oracle or an SAP, when you're looking for database tools, there's a short list of people to talk to, that are the industry leaders. We're the industry leader in this space, but it's a lonely space, because what we do is very unique, and there's not like 5 or 6 different competitors that are all in the same box as us. Is that we cross over a number of different boxes and have a very unique solution, but a solution that is broadly applicable to developers of software. So and we're solving a valuable problem. Just the piracy problem alone is about a $4.5 billion a year opportunity for software companies to recover that kind of revenue. So it's a big market, and a lot of potential for us, as we
Yeah,
go down this path.
that's a big number. And let's move along to how you acquire clients. So what's the number one method that you use to acquire new clients?
Yeah, that's a good question. I can tell you that historically, there's really two ways. One of the ways is referrals. So we try to make our existing customers happy, and that leads to a lot of referrals. But you can't get referrals if you don't have happy customers. So initially, and even today, one of the things that we focus on is, if you want to stop piracy, you have to go into the dark web, and you've got to find out. You got to start looking in the corners, street corners, where this illegal software is being sold on the internet. So what we did is, early on, we started to become experts in finding tracking down the distribution channels for illegal software. Some of them are in the dark web, but some of them are also hiding in public space. So Alibaba.com, you can go to some of these websites, and you can find stores that are selling what people think is legitimate software, but it's crack software. It's counterfeit.
Oh,
It's software that could be integrated with malware. It's software that could be, that could have ransomware or backdoors attached to it, and people go looking for a bargain, and they get more than they paid for. So one of the examples I use all the time, because because people know it, is Photoshop, from Adobe. Everybody knows Photoshop. A lot of people use it. There was a time when, if you just Googled Photoshop and you went out to buy it, you would find a bunch of the search engine would produce a bunch of web stores that were selling it for fairly low prices, and they were selling what appeared to be legitimate copies of the software that were just illegal. So not $1 would ever make it back to Adobe. These were people who had taken they took legal copies of Photoshop, they modified the security, they tampered with the program to enable it to be licensed freely, and then they were selling it and profiting from the stolen goods that they've done. The same way people do with fake Rolexes and fake Gucci handbags, but they do it with software. So
wow.
how do we get clients? Well, we go out and we find these websites that are selling illegal versions of the software or counterfeit software, and then we make lists of them. And there was just one website we found in Russia, and they had they had thousands of products, but there were 800 companies, individual companies, products that were for sale, that were all counterfeit or cracked or whatever you want to call it, pirated software. So we make a list of those, we bring them into our CRM system, and then we systematically go about trying to find key contacts and reaching out to people. And a lot of times people would know that these sites existed, but their response would be, well, what do you want me to do about it? This has been going on since the beginning of the technology revolution and the beginning of software. There's always been kind of counterfeits. And a lot of people don't know that companies like Cylynt exist, and our bread and butter is helping these companies track those users who are downloading these illegal copies, and we help these companies identify who's using it, and we also help the end user of these counterfeit licenses is a potential victim. These people could be a victim of malware attacks or ransomware attacks, or they could just have some rogue employee that's violating their policy on fair use of these products, and we help correct those problems. And a lot of times it's not an acrimonious, like, we'll see you in court kind of situation. It's a harmonious meeting between sales executives from the software developer and senior management at the customer that's using the counterfeit software, and it can turn into a very strong executive relationship that leads to corporate enterprise agreement, training, proper support and coaching to use these tools, because a lot of times these are expensive tools that are sophisticated, that really require a close relationship with the customer, and we facilitate that. So that's how we kind of gain clients, is by going to the dark side of the software industry and finding out where this trafficking is going on, so.
That's super creative. I have to admit, I've never heard that version before, so that's really cool. I love it.
Yeah.
So if someone's listening to this, if a CEO is listening to this and they go, wow, I need to get a hold of Ted and Ted's company to find out more, tell our listeners, where they could go to find out more information about your organization and how they could get in touch.
Okay. Well, first place to start is on our website, which is www.cylynt.com, and that's spelled CYLYNT.com. And a lot of information there. A lot of, if you go to the resources section, there's some videos and there's some white papers, and there's a lot of information that tells you the basics about what you're doing. Then, really, with our solution, it is a custom solution. And one of the things that we do for our clients is we will do a free piracy analysis. So let's say you're the CEO of a software company, and you either know you have piracy, or you don't even know if you have piracy, but you want to find out and you want to put a number to it. If you go to that website, cylynt.com, in the upper right hand corner, there's a bright yellow button that you can click on for a free piracy analysis. What that means is that when you click on that button, you'll be asked what the product name is and what your contact information is. We will put a lot of time and effort into researching the dark web and these web shops, and we'll find out if your software is being cracked. We'll help find out how it's being cracked. We'll find out how many people are downloading it. If you have a price associated with it, we can tell you how much revenue you're using per year to piracy, and we will help put together a plan to help you kind of forecast as to how much revenue you can recover, and no cost to anybody. You can just click that piracy analysis, and we will put the time and effort into it, and generate a significant report for you, and we'll send it to you for free. If it turns out that you don't have piracy, there's still a lot of value we can bring to you, just in terms of understanding your user community, the usage analytics, the evaluations, the educational licenses. So there's still a lot of value in working with us. And if you have existing data like that company I talked about earlier, we will do a free benchmark for you. If you have a lot of usage data and you want to know who your top 10 customers are that you think that we think are going to churn, or you want us to help you identify the top 10 opportunities from your installed base that you can upsell to, we'll do that for free. We'll take your existing data, we'll under an NDA, we'll bring it into our system, we'll enrich it, we'll organize it by account, and we'll present it back to you. And you can tell us if we have added value or not. And we'll, again, do these kind of things as a free consultation.
Well, wonderful. And as we're coming to a close, can you give us the one word close? Let us know, what is that one word that you could use to describe how you're feeling as we're coming to an end here?
I don't know. Let's be positive. Let's say victory. I think that victory is a great word. It can mean a lot of different things to different people. So it gives the listener a chance to kind of define what it is. But it is one of the things that we take a lot of pride in, is that that customer success. So we meet with our clients, and we try to define, get an understanding from them what they would consider to be victory. And our goal is always to make our users the most valuable employee to their organization. And we've done that on many occasions. Is our chief sponsor, we want him to be the one that the CEO brings up and says, this person made a difference this year. And we want to be a part of that. We want to give them the tools and the technology that they need to bring this data to life, and to generate insights, and to generate new revenue for their company. So let's hope 2021 is is a year filled with lots of victories for individuals and organizations. And Tony, I want to thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity to share with you kind of the things we're doing and where we're headed.
You're very welcome, and you're welcome back anytime. I can't wait to have you back on the show just to check in with you about new discoveries or new things you're doing or other ways you're helping clients. So thanks for coming on the show, Ted.
Excellent. Thank you, Tony.